Hi, this is Blaze. I'm the Director of Nursery Operations here at fastgrowingtrees.com. Today we're going to go over some simple and hopefully helpful tips on taking care of your citrus at home, whether it be in a pot or in the ground, and whether it be a lemon, a lime, an orange, a grapefruit. These things should make you a successful gardener with your product. If you're living in a cold climate and it's always going to be primarily indoors during the cold months, always in the sunniest, brightest part of your house, because that's really where they thrive the most. Because if you go to South Florida or something, you see groves of this. They're out in that full, hot, blazing Florida sun. And as much as you can emulate that in your home, that's going to make the plant do the best for you. So if you live, Midwest, Northeast, somewhere like that, where you are going to get winter, ideally, if you have it in a pot, you want to keep these things at least above 45 degrees at all times, and if not, or warmer if possible. So if you have if you've had a plant for a while and it's fairly large, it's better to have it outside as much as you can in the summer. But if you do have to bring it in, again, when it starts getting close to, when you're going to get down in the low 40s, bring it inside. But then when it warms back up and it's sunny and it's going to be like 60 and nice again, try and keep it outside. They just do better that way. Now, when it starts warming up from winter, probably depending on how energetic and how big your plant is, you may want to wait a while. Just let it to the point where you can leave it outside. So when you know you're going to get to that period, you're going to be above 45 or higher at nighttime temperatures, go ahead and bring it outside and let it stay there. It'll do the plant a lot of good. Because normally just bringing it in and bringing it out, it can get tedious. You may damage just whatnot. So yeah, if you want to leave it inside till you know it's going to be, you're pretty much past winter, go ahead and do so. If we get one of these, late freezers or something, yeah, by all means bring it back in. But that's really, yeah, the longer outside, the better. So once you get your tree and you got it potted and it's growing, whether it's in the ground or in a big container, a couple things. Citrus is daylight sensitive. What that means is that, in the summer, the sun's out all day, and in the winter, it's not out so long. And that will affect the growth of the plant. So in terms of watering and feeding, in the dead of winter, especially for people living up north where the plant's inside, overwatering it and overfeeding are probably going to be the two biggest cause of death because the plant's just not really growing. These trees are grafted, and what these rootstocks have been developed over the years has all been from a commercial standpoint for depending on where the tree's planted and the kinds of soils and all these other things. And they all have different sensitivities to the length of daylight. So, if it's December and there's 4 feet of snow on the ground, it doesn't need to be fed because the tree's just not going to grow. Normally, when you start see how this nice flush of growth, when you start seeing that, it's March, it's April, it's 60, it's sunny, go ahead and start feeding it. And you can either use, if the tree's outside and it's staying outside, you can get a nice granular fertilizer. Try and find something at your garden center that's slow release. Or if you can't find that, a water soluble, whether it's a triple 20 or maybe a 1-to-1 ratio type fertilizer liquid will be just fine. Maybe once a month, you'd mix a tablespoon in a gallon of water, pour it in there, but don't overdo it because eventually there's salts that'll accumulate and that's where you start seeing the brown tips on the leaves. So you don't have to do that. But in the winter, just kind of make sure it's kind of moist in there. You don't want it to be bone dry and dusty. But other than that, just kind of let it go. It'll be fine. And then you'll notice that as it warms up and it gets sunnier and it just stays sunnier longer during the day, this is when you'll start seeing the new growth, the tree will perk up, and then the flowers will come, then the fruit will come. And if you look at this guy, you can see lots of new growth, lots of flowers, and you even have fruit setting on this limequat tree. So now keep in mind also, you're going to get a lot of flowers and you will get a lot of fruit setting, but it's not all going to stay the first couple of years just because the tree's small and it's a young plant. So don't be disappointed if stuff like this comes on and then falls off. That's just normal. But as the tree gets older and bigger and more established, it'll flower and you'll have more fruit production staying on the tree. A couple other things to look for. You got a leaf that looks like this and it's going to turn to this. In layman's term, this is called greasy spot. It's normal. It happens on citrus. It is what it is. It's like a blemish. Don't worry about it. Just when the leaf gets old enough, just pluck it off, throw it out. Big thing about growing citrus inside, especially when you got old leaves and everything else, is keep the pots clean, because you do not want this stuff in the ground, because it's the bacteria that causes that, and it'll go into the roots and go into your tree. So just keep everything clean in the pot, especially indoors. Hopefully all this information will be helpful, and if you have any questions, our plant experts are readily available to assist you.